Hello, everybody. We are back with our second episode on POSH is good for employees and organizations. Why and how? As you all know, UCS is coming out with these podcasts with the intention and passion to make one and all understand the ABC of the laws related to sexual harassment of women in India. We continue this series with Anupama, the chief trainer at UCS, in conversation with Mayank, an entrepreneur from Mysore in Karnataka. Welcome, Anupama and Mayank. Shall we start? Over to you, Mayank. I can see that you're eager to shoot your question at Anupama.
Thanks, Kaveri. Yes, of course, I definitely am. Hi, Anupama. In the last episode, you mentioned that POSH is not as draconian as it seems to be. Why do you say that? And how is that possible? To me, it looks favoring only women.
Hi, Mayank. Yes, I do stand by what I said. In our last conversation, you mentioned that life of men would have been better with just the Vishaka guidelines. And with these guidelines, you need not have committee with at least 50% women and outside consultant, etc. This understanding you have that the guidelines is simpler and the POSH Act is complicated is absolutely wrong. The Supreme Court of India in Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan laid down stringent guidelines for workplaces to abide by. In fact, it was so exhaustive and included setting up of a committee with 50% women and an external representative. The guidelines laid down almost all information related to handling inquiries related to sexual harassment of women in workplaces, definition of different terminologies, including sexual harassment, and making the employer responsible for creating awareness about the same in workplaces. The POSH Act is just a plain expansion of these guidelines. In addition to the guidelines, it also brings in a time frame for completion of inquiry and penalties if organizations do not adhere to the provisions. I hope I've busted your myth that the guidelines are much better than POSH. Why do I say it is not draconian? Since the enactment of the POSH Act, the single largest complaint, as you also mentioned, is that it supports women and women will misuse it. Both these assumptions are incorrect. They are myths fueled by mischief mongers or people who do not know the law. The POSH Act, as you must be aware of, lays down punishments for the perpetuator as well. You're aware of it, isn't it?
Yes, I am. And that is the concern.
Don't jump the gun, Mayank. Do you know that the same punishments apply to a person who files a false complaint? If you think that the allegations made against you are false, go through with the inquiry. The inquiry committee has 50% men and has a neutral person as well. And as per the Act, the inquiry will have to be just, fair, and equitable. And if it's proved that the allegations of sexual harassment are false, then the same punishments that are slated for a person committing an act of sexual harassment applies to them as well. In fact, in a recent judgment, as recent as last year, in Union of India versus Reema Srinivas Iyengar, the court reprimanded the lady who had filed a sexual harassment case to settle her personal score against her superior. And here's what the court said. It said, it appears that the complainant has made a futile attempt to settle her personal score with the petitioner. Every office has to maintain certain decorum and women employees cannot be allowed to go scot-free without completing their assignments. Goes to show, isn't it, Mayank, that filing a false case is not easy at all. That is why it is important for organizations, and I keep stressing, to conduct awareness programs on sexual harassment. Such awareness programs should not only speak about what amounts to sexual harassment, but should create a holistic, respectful learning so one is aware of the good and the better part of this act. Hope this has given you some clarity on why I say it is not draconian.
Thanks, Anupama. This is really interesting and something I did not know. I now know that one cannot get away by filing a false complaint against his male colleague just out of spite and vengeance. Doing so can make them lose their jobs too.
Ladies and gentlemen, we come back to you in a fortnight to further demystify a lot of myths about the POSH Act. I hope you found this episode very informative. Do get in touch with us with your queries, suggestions, and feedback by emailing us at admin@upseedconsulting.com or writing to us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. We would love to hear what you all think and clear all your doubts in our next episode. Wishing you all a great evening.